Now, you didn't think you'd sit through an address from a psychiatrist and not hear something about fantasies and dreams, did you? But the great thing about psychiatrists is that we can talk about dreams and fantasies as well as the hippocampus and the cytochrome P450 system.
Dr. Patrice Harris made history in 2019, becoming the first Black woman elected as president of the American Medical Association. A child psychiatrist, Harris completed her residency at the Emory University School of Medicine. She is a former county public health director and a devoted patient advocate. Harris led the AMA's charge to end the horrific opioid epidemic. She has chaired the Opioid Task Force since 2014. A renowned expert on children's mental health and childhood trauma, Dr. Harris used her platform to shed light on the importance of getting help for depression and anxiety, while bringing attention to health disparities during the COVID-19 crisis. I'm Phyllis Jackson. The legacy lives.
Carolyn Long Banks is the first Black woman to be appointed and elected to the Atlanta City Council. An important part of Atlanta history, Banks was among a group of Atlanta University students forming the Committee on the Appeal for Human Rights, known as the Atlanta Student Movement. Banks and others committed to nonviolence took part in sit-ins at local segregated lunch counters and cafeterias in the Georgia State Capitol, as well as area restaurants that turned Black patrons away. Their courageous acts would open the doors to desegregation of Atlanta's businesses, schools, and medical facilities. Carolyn Long Banks served the city of Atlanta from 1980 to 1997. I'm Atlanta City Council member Amir Farouki. The legacy lives.
Marvin Stevens Arrington Sr. made an unforgettable mark on the city of Atlanta. He was elected to the Atlanta Board of Aldermen in 1969. The name of that legislative body was changed to the Atlanta City Council in 1974. Arrington served as council president for 17 years. Among many other important causes, Arrington fought diligently to address issues of discrimination and led the charge to require the recording of all standing committee meetings and city council meetings. He also courageously appointed a woman to chair the Finance Committee. After stepping down from the council, his service to the city continued. In 2002, Governor Roy Barnes appointed Arrington to become Fulton County Superior Court Judge, where he served for 10 years before retiring. Arrington's dedication and commitment to serve would not go unnoticed. In 2019, the Atlanta City Council voted unanimously to rename the council chamber in his honor. I am Atlanta City Council President Felicia Moore. The legacy lives.
The Carrie Steele Pitts home. The founder, Carrie Steele Logan, was an emancipated slave who moved to Atlanta during Reconstruction while working as a maid at the Union Railroad station and encountered many abandoned children. Her compassionate heart and her experience as an orphan compelled her to care for them in her very own home. Carrie raised the money to build a larger space and founded what would become the oldest Black orphanage in the country, the Carrie Steele Pitts home. Locations have changed, but the commitment to children remains. Her epitaph at Oakland Cemetery reads, "The mother of orphans, she hath done what she could." I'm Atlanta City Councilmember Andrea Boone. The legacy lives.
Zernona Clayton is a civil rights activist who worked alongside Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Clayton moved to Atlanta in 1965 after taking a job with the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. She also traveled with Coretta Scott King during concert tours. She's the first Black person to have her own TV show, a corporate executive for Turner Broadcasting for nearly 3 decades. Clayton is the founder, president, and CEO of the Trumpet Awards Foundation, Incorporated, and creator and executive producer of the Trumpet Awards Show, which honors the accomplishments of Black Americans. The city of Atlanta honored Clayton with the dedication of a street and park plaza for a lifetime of contributions to humanity. I'm Atlanta City Councilmember Jennifer Ide. The legacy lives.
The Atlanta Police Department saw major change in 1948 when it hired its first Black police officers. Soon to come along in its ranks in 1950 was Claude Everett Mundy. While responding to a burglary on January 5, 1961, on Parkway Drive, Officer Mundy became the first Black officer to be shot and killed in the line of duty. Officer Mundy was 39 years old and left behind a wife and 5 children. He was recently honored with a proclamation during the 60th commemoration of his death. His family was there celebrating his life and his undeniable bravery. I'm Atlanta City Council member Michael Julian Bond. The legacy lives.
Welcome to this edition of Stay at Home Connect. I'm Phyllis Jackson. While promoting his COVID-19 relief plan, President Biden says that 600 million doses of the coronavirus vaccine will be available by the end of July. FEMA launches the opening of its first COVID-19 vaccination sites in Los Angeles and Oakland as part of the Biden administration's plan to pick up the pace of vaccine distribution. The winter weather is hindering vaccination efforts in many states, including here in Georgia. In a release, the Georgia Department of Public Health says it received notice from the CDC that Pfizer and Moderna vaccines that should have arrived earlier this week were held back by the manufacturers due to the weather. Delays are expected to continue through the week. Many providers are rescheduling appointments. Officials with the Department of Public Health are asking for patience as they wait for weather conditions to improve and shipments to resume. Doctors are concerned about an increase of an extremely rare multi-system inflammatory syndrome in children after exposure to COVID-19. The condition leads to inflammation of the body's major organs. Here's what you need to know. The CDC has a list of symptoms that you should be aware of. Not all children will have the same symptoms. Among the more serious, trouble breathing, chest pain, or pressure that doesn't go away, along with severe abdominal pain. For a full list of symptoms of multisystem inflammatory syndrome, you can go to the CDC's website at cdc.gov. That's a wrap. We'll see you on the next edition of Stay at Home Connect.
I'm grateful for all of the partners that have come in today. Once again, to show how much Atlanta is a caring community. You know, we have families that are hurting, that they are trying to take care of housing and food and making sure that all family members have safe winter clothing, clean winter clothing. These are brand new coats, and we want the community to know that they don't have to be without. We have food giveaways, and now we are having a coat giveaway for families in need.
some of these individuals, these young men, 20 years old, facing 77 years, aggravated assault and having a weapon in their hand, and some of these crimes just triple and double. And these individuals have had to serve time, but they're in a program, a mentoring program like the Next Level Boys Academy, that's changing their lives, that shows them there's a better way, and they don't have to do these things anymore, and that they can take life in their own hands by going out there and learning how to cut grass, get a job, and they're better for it. Their wants and their needs are now known, so they don't have to go after things that they want and taking it from someone else. They can go after the things that they need, work hard for it, and keep working to get the things that they want. This is now a wonderful thing. And here at the gathering spot, they gave us the space, the opportunity to do it. And at the end of it, they're even offering some of these young men jobs. And some of the business community needed to hear that, because they can also continue to offer these young men jobs. And that's one thing that's going on here. And that's why we wanted to do it, to show that there's a pathway out of poverty, and there's a pathway out of some of these poor choices that young men make. And right now, we heard from the DA, we heard from the sheriff, and we talked about solutions. And we're going to keep doing that discussion as we make policies and plans to improve.
Morning. Can everyone hear me?
Yep, yes.
Okay. So good morning. So today is February 24th, and this is the regularly scheduled meeting for the Transportation Committee for the City of Atlanta. And I'm Marcy Collier Overstreet. I'm your vice chair of the committee, and I will be presiding in Chairman Dickens' absence. So from what I know, we constitute a quorum, and I will call this meeting to order. So, Ms. Pulendini, can you tell me who all is on the call? Can you do a roll call for us, please?
Yes, Councilmember Overstreet. Councilmember Brown.
Here.
Councilmember Frokie.
Here.
Councilmember Ives. Here. Councilmember Matzkeit.
Here.
Councilmember Westmoreland.
Here.
We have 6 members on the line.
Okay, wonderful. So can we move on to the remote meeting statement?
Madam Chair? Madam Chair?
Yes.
This is Council President Moore. I'm on the line. I text you. I have my ARC update today, so I did text you to see if I could do that earlier in the meeting.
Oh, yes, we can definitely accommodate you. I did not get that text.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thanks for joining. Back to the remote meeting statement, please.
This Transportation Committee meeting is being conducted remotely as advertised and as in accordance with OTGA 50-14-1. The meeting will be conducted in conformance with Robert's Rules of Order and the Rules of Council as authorized by the Code. The public may access the meeting by dialing 877-579-6743, conference ID 831-599-1256, which was noted on the February 19, 2021 public meeting notice. The public may also view the meeting on Channel 26, the Council's homepage at citycouncil.atlantagA.gov, the Council's YouTube channel, or the Council's Facebook and Twitter pages via @ATL Council. All presentations are available on the Atlanta City Council Transportation Committee presentation page. The agenda was published and made available on February 19, 2021 via atlantacitga.iqmc.com. In addition, the public was able to submit comments via voicemail at 404-330-6059 between the hours of 4 and 7 p.m. the day before this meeting. All persons present on the remote council meeting conference bridge are requested to mute your phones and speakers. Additionally, speakers must be acknowledged by the presiding officer prior to speaking. Each council member is requested to open their Outlook email and minimize the screen. Amendments, substitutes, and informational documents have been distributed to committee members beforehand. Thank you all in advance for your cooperation.
All right, thank you, Ms. Sulandini, for that. We're going to move on now to adoption of agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda? Thank you. Staff, please prepare to vote.
Do we have a couple voice votes, maybe? Councilmember I? Yes. And Westmoreland?
In favor.
Okay, thank you.
The vote is closed. 6 days, 0 nays. The agenda has been adopted.
Thank you. And moving on to the approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved, Westmoreland.
Second?
Okay.
Thank you. Will the staff please prepare the vote?
Bluetooth connected.
Okay, Councilmember I? Yes. Thank you.
And the vote is closed. 6 days, 0 nays. The minutes have been approved.
Okay, so it's time for public comment. Members of the public are allowed to call in for public comment, leaving their message, and they can be at least 3 minutes long. Are we ready to play those?
Madam Chair, I'm not sure. How long is your public comment? This is Councilmember.
It's not long.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Pulandini, do you have any?
Yes, 1 moment, please. The public comment, which is 5 minutes.
Yes.
Just under 6 minutes will be played shortly.
Sure. And Council President Moore, you'll be
staff and special greetings to you.
Hello, my name is Sherry B. Williams, and I'm excited to lead public comments today for the City of Atlanta Transportation Committee. I want to thank, first of all, Commissioner Rowan for his quick responses to several road projects that have had concerns in a lot of communities during COVID, that he and his awesome team have been able to work with expeditiously before they became worse. I also want to talk about how we stay green and how we continue to move forward in improving the air quality in the city of Atlanta. Myself and several residents have been having conversations about fossil fuel use at the same time that we are planting trees. So my question is, how can we be planting trees and encouraging more use of fossil fuel at the same time? It appears a little bit counterproductive. You know, a lot of people don't understand that, like the COVID-19 virus, that the emissions of fossil fuel is colorless and odorless, just like CO2 gases are. The particulates and the fumes emitted from pumps are invisible. So many people in Atlanta don't even know that the protective rings are supposed to be on the spout of the gas nozzles when they're pumping their gas. And when those rings are missing, they are emitting up to 10 times more of the toxic gases and particulates in the air. And I don't have to tell you that people, especially on the South Side, have very poor air quality. And to plant trees thinking that that's going to offset the increased number of gas stations and the increased number of cars on the road doesn't make sense to us. So is it possible for you to be able to address how you can help air quality and go green? Thank you. I wish I had more time. Thank you.
Greetings to you, committee members and staff, and special greetings to you, citizens and voters of Atlanta, monitoring your government in action and taking note of how comments made by Atlanta residents are treated by our elected officials. Ben Howard, Senior Advocate, Public Policy Analyst. The Atlanta Planning Advisory Board, APAB, met last Saturday, February 20th. Under APAB President Debbie Skopczynski, APAB no longer has a transportation committee, once aptly chaired by Melissa Firestone, who has passed on. Neighborhood Planning Unit R, chaired last year by now Vice Chair Antonita Robinson, and before her by Ricardo Jacobs and by Corliss Clare, has had no transportation committee ever. Residents, professionals, business persons, and stakeholders within Neighborhood Planning Unit R, one of 25 NPUs within APAB, were told last year that Campbellton Road Phase 3 would be implemented in 2021. Seniors are expecting a transformed thoroughfare with vivid greenery and synchronized street lighting and sidewalks without holes and cracks, or wide enough for wheelchairs to wind their way without mishap. The NPUR 9 will not allow Campbellton Road Phase 3 to appear as unfinished business on NPUR agendas, probably because such a topic would draw citizens to the NPUR meetings, and the NPUR 9 just might lose control of NPUR when Johnny and Susan citizens start showing up at meetings. Residents and stakeholders need to be brought up to date on the status of solar-powered buses and just how soon will those driverless buses be running down Campbellton and Cascade Roads. And just who is the mystery host of the NPUR Zoom meetings who is continually removing from Zoom meetings any and all citizens who might dare to speak out against NPUR 9 dominance and do nothing? Given such acceptance of the NPUR 9 modus operandi, how can the transportation-related problems of senior citizens in Southwest Atlanta ever be addressed? I submit that it would be helpful to enact stronger citizen participation legislation to offset the negative impact of that NPUR 9. I caution you that any attempt you might make to increase citizen participation at NPUR will be met with fierce resistance on the NPUR 9 Vice Chair Antonita Robinson, Corliss Clare, Ricardo Jacobs, Annette L. Scott, Alfred White, Allison Hathaway, and also be fierce resistance from the underground supporters of the NPUR 9 syndicate.
Hello, my name.
And that concludes our public comment.
Okay, thank you. Now we're moving on to our presentation. And this is you, Council President Moore, the Atlanta Regional Commission Quarterly Update.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair and members of the committee. Hello, everyone. I will be brief. We've sent the update to you by email. It also has links in it that can give you further information if you need it. So I'll just, for the public and you, at the high level. Notes, it is an update and an overview of the ARC activities since our last quarterly update in December 16, 2020. The ARC, as we are, has been meeting remotely due to COVID-19. I attended the many meetings and will attend upcoming meetings. The board meeting was held on January 13th. The next one will take place March 10th, 2021. We had a special board briefing for the Regional Development Plan that will take place on March 2nd, 2021. I'm on the Pension Board of Trustees. Excuse me, our first quarterly meeting is tentatively scheduled for March 24th, 2021. And again, any archived documents from the meetings I've attended, you will have a link in your email. Some of the key issues that we've discussed this quarter have been the FY 2020 annual report related to aging. The goal is still to maximize the independence, health, and well-being for older persons, individuals with disabilities, and their partners. 792,000 people are aged 60 or older living in Metro Atlanta. In 2019, approximately 1 in 8 people were over the age of 60. And we expect that number to grow to 1.2 million by 2030, which would make it approximately 1 in 4 persons. The key areas of focus for ARC will be accessibility, transportation, pedestrian-friendly neighborhoods, and affordable housing for every phase of life. And of course, demand for programmatic services have increased in 2020 due to COVID-19. The other area is Green Communities. Green Communities is a voluntary certification program encouraging local governments to implement measures reducing their environmental footprint. The program's target areas are government buildings, fleets and practices, community engagement, and public education on sustainability issues. The City of Atlanta is currently certified Gold status. Platinum is the highest certification level. The other area is economic impact of COVID-19. Those highlights include that employment numbers are improving but still have not reached pre-pandemic levels. Only the sectors which seem to be pandemic-proof are trade, transportation, and utilities. Only 10% of small businesses report a return to normal as others continue to struggle in the pandemic economy. Approximately 27% of licensed child care facilities and homes are closed. Some reports indicate that roughly 50% of these facilities will never reopen. When the national moratorium ends, approximately 80,000 renter households throughout the region will be under severe distress. The shift to virtual learning at the end of the school year contributed to declines in reading and math proficiency, equaling about 2 years of learning loss. Households are saving more money during the pandemic, which may point to an economic resurgence in late 2021, barring any further unanticipated circumstances. And what we know for sure is that persons of color are experiencing the greatest adverse impact due to the dual public health and economic crisis. And then I have that presentation link as well. And then finally, workforce presentation. As you know, Atlanta Regional Workforce Development Board directs the investment of $12 to $15 million annually in 7 counties. We have our own workforce development agency, but we do work in coordination with them as possible. And so that is my high-level report. If you want any further information or if the public wants more information, you can always go to the Atlanta Regional Commission website. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Council President Moore. Colleagues, any questions about the ARC quarterly report for Council President Moore?
Madam Chair, this is Councilmember Brown. I have a few questions.
Sure. Go ahead.
Thank you. President Moore, I heard you speak about the unemployment. Did ARC speak on specifically where we are within the unemployment in Atlanta?
Well, you know, this a regional commission, so they look at things regionally. You may want to look at that economic impact report. It may have it broken down in the different areas within the region in terms of where the numbers were at that time when they gave the report. That was the 2021 sort of outlook.
Okay.
Because I don't have that level of detail in front of me.
Okay, no problem. And did ARC project when we're anticipated to come out of kind of where we are within the economic state of Georgia and Atlanta? Because I know before they had projected 2023, but I'm just curious if that has changed, if it's been extended.
No, there was no discussion about changing that projection. And again, they don't know, and they're borrowing. They left it at 2023 last time we had a discussion. But of course, we had these new variant strains of the virus that are out, and we do now have a vaccine. But with the variant strains, it's still kind of questioning if whether or not we'll be, if and when we'll be coming totally out of the pandemic, or enough so that we're back close to pre-pandemic conditions. So at this point, I haven't heard them move that date out from 2023. I think everyone is trying to be as optimistic as possible.
Okay. Thanks so much, Madam President, for the
No
report.
problem. Thank you for your questions.
Is that it? Anyone else? Okay, what stood out the most to me is that by 2030, which is less than about 9 years, that 25% of Metro Atlanta will be over 60. And I will be in that group. So that caught my ear. I'm like, oh, wow. That's something. So that means that we need development around the city catered to us.
Exactly.
Okay.
I mean, we need to start preparing, and that's what those good projections are, that you know what to start to prepare for.
Absolutely. So thank you for your report. And,
thank you.
All righty. Moving on to our ordinance for first read on the consent agenda. Ms. Coolendini, can you read those in for the record?
Yes, Ms. Chair. Item number 1, 21-0-0114, an ordinance by Transportation Committee to ratify Cooperative Purchasing Agreement COA-9709PL, traffic signal, electrical facilities, parts, and accessories, and to exercise renewal term option number 4 with General Traffic Equipment Corp., ITS Plus, Inc., Temple, Inc., Trafficware Group, Inc., Transportation Control Systems, Inc., Control Technologies, 360 Network Solutions, LLC, Waytronics, LLC, and Utilicom Supply Associates, LLC, on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation for a term of 1 year retroactively effective beginning December 1, 2020 through December 1, 2021, with no additional funding required in accordance with Section 2-1163, Subsection C, Article 10, Procurement and Real Estate Code, Code of Ordinances of the City of Atlanta, and for other purposes. Item number 2, 21-0-0115, an ordinance by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or her designee to amend the following 3 architectural and engineering design contracts: SC 7383B, Atlanta Services Group 3, a joint venture of Jacobs Project Management Co., SL King and Associates, Inc., and Engineering Design Technologies, Inc., FC-7383C, BGR2, a joint venture of Black and Beach Corporation, River to Tap, Inc., and Gresham Smith and Partners, and FC-7383S, PB Benchmark JV, a joint venture of Parsons and Brinkerhoff, Inc., and Benchmark Management LLC, to extend the terms of the contract on a month-to-month basis for a period not to exceed 6 months, on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation and the Department of Watershed Management, in accordance with Section 2-1163, Article 10, Procurement and Real Estate Code of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances, and for the purposes. And item number 3, 21-0-0116, an ordinance by Transportation Committee to ratify FC-5060, operation and management of common use facilities and equipment at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport with CBI Airport Management, Inc., and authorize the mayor or her designee to enter into amendment number 2 to extend the term of the agreement on a month-to-month basis for a period not to exceed 5 months, retroactively effective beginning January 30th, 2021 through January 29th, 2021, on behalf of the Department of Aviation in an amount not to exceed $625,000.00, in accordance with Section 2-1163, Article X, Procurement and Real Estate Code of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances. All contracted work will be charged to and paid from account numbers listed herein and for other purposes. And that concludes our first read item.
Okay, thank you. So we're just going to, there's no action required for those, correct? So we're going to move on to our regular agenda, which is our ordinance for second read. Do we have a substitute for that, this one?
Yes, Madam Chair. There's a substitute which was emailed this morning. If the committee would like to make a motion to bring forth a substitute, I'll then read the caption in.
So moved, Brown.
Second.
Okay. Will the staff prepare the vote for the substitute?
The vote is open.
Councilmember aye. Oh, all votes are passed.
The vote is closed. 6 days, 0 nays. The substitute is now before you. The substitute ordinance by Transportation Committee amending the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances, Chapter 22, Aviation, Article 3, to provide for Section 22-73, hours of operation, and for other purposes.
Okay. Anyone want to speak on the substitute?
Yes, Madam Chair. This is Councilmember Brown.
Sure.
Colleagues, this paper came before the body before, and we voted to send it through full council, and then we ended up, because of some information that we discovered at the airport, we ended up holding it in the press of council and sending it back to committee. And we needed to amend it to make some changes in some of the whereas clauses, in which we've done now, to address some of the areas in which we're going to be looking at within the population that's coming into the airport after hours, and some of the resources and support services that are going to be provided to address this population that comes into the airport. Amber Robinson is on the call. Amber, I'm not sure if you want to speak to this at all before we motion to approve it.
Ms. Robinson?
Hi, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for having me in the Transportation Committee meeting. Councilmember Overstreet and Councilmember Brown, I appreciate the ability to speak this morning. Councilmember Brown said everything that I could have possibly said about this substitute, but I can say that law has reviewed it. We are comfortable with the language of the substitutes presented by Councilmember Brown and believe that it accomplishes the goals in a lawful and constitutional manner.
Okay, great news. So I move approval for the substitute.
Second, Brown.
Okay, staff, please prepare the vote.
The vote is open.
Mr. Westmoreland?
In favor.
Thank you.
The vote is closed. 6 days, 0 nays. This item is favorable on substitute.
Okay, so now we vote on the actual. Well, no, because it was already, we brought the substitute forward, so now we've already completed the voting for the actual ordinance, correct?
That's correct.
All right, so we're moving on to the next one.
Item number 5, 21-0-0084, an ordinance by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or her designee on behalf of the City of Atlanta to enter into lease agreements with various airlines and airline support companies for cargo, warehouse, and office support facilities located at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, waiving the lease of city-owned real property requirements contained in Section 2-1647, Article 10, Procurement and Real Estate Code of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances, as well as any other conflicting code provisions and for other purposes.
Okay, is Mr. Selden here to speak on this?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. John Selden from Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. And these 18 leases, 15 are in our North Cargo facility and 3 are in our South Cargo facilities. And these cargo companies and airlines are in our AULA, and their leases are about to expire April 30th, 2021. And we're looking for the authority to renew these leases. The leases will be no longer than 5 years. It's for warehouse and office space, and the going rate for that is $14.50 to $15. And the land rental that they use for aircraft parking ramps and things like that is $1.60 a square foot with 3% escalation. And we're looking to do this to ensure that our facilities stay full and our leases are current. Thank you.
Well, good morning, and thank you. So I move approval. Can I get a second?
Madam Chair, this is Councilmember Brown. Can I just ask Mr. Selden a question in regards to this legislation?
Absolutely.
Mr. Selden, is this the CBI contract?
No, it is not, Councilman Brown.
All right, I just wanted to be sure. Thank you so much.
Nope, thank you.
Is there a second?
Second, Brown.
Thank you. Will the staff prepare the vote, please?
One moment, please. Will everyone please vote? And the vote is closed. The vote is closed. 68 nays. This item is favorable and now should be referred to the Finance Executive Committee due to waivers of the Procurement and Real Estate Code. If the committee would like to make a motion.
I move to refer it to the Financial Executive Committee. Can I get a second, please?
Second, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open.
Councilmember Ide.
The vote is closed. 68 nays. This item will be referred. Our next item is number 6, 21-0-0105. An ordinance by Councilmember Natalie and Marchiban authorizing the mayor or designee to reduce the posted speed limit on Howard Street Northeast between Hosea L. Williams Drive Northeast and College Avenue Northeast from 30 miles per hour to 25 miles per hour and for other purposes.
Can we please have Commissioner Rowan or Cortina speak to this paper?
Cortina Alexander, Atlanta Department of Transportation. Howard Street is a north-south 2-lane road with a length of over half a mile. It is classified currently as a major collector and is on the state list of roads for enforcement at 30 miles per hour. Therefore, it does not fall under Division 0 legislation for conversion to 25 miles an hour. Pre-COVID, traffic volumes were counted at about 3,600 vehicles per day, which is low for a collector street. Volumes of roughly 2,600 vehicles per day were recently counted during COVID conditions. Adjacent land uses are residential in addition to 3 churches. The road width ranges from about 22 feet in the north end to about 29 feet at the south end. Sidewalks are provided on both sides of the street, and there is a roughly 120-degree bend in the road at the connection with College Avenue. Due to roadway classifications, volumes, and surrounding land uses, Howard Street is not being used really as a collector street, but more as a local road. So we're okay with reducing the speed limit from 30 to 25, knowing that it will not be on the GDOT approved list for radar enforcement once it is lowered from 30 to 25.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Alexander?
I'll move approval. Westmoreland.
Okay, I'll second. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open.
Councilmember Brown? Well, he did state that he had to pop in and out, so, thank you.
And the vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. Item number 7, 21-0-0110, an ordinance by Councilmember Marchiban Overstreet, authorizing the mayor or her designee to make the intersections of Herring Road Southwest and Beecher Road Southwest, Edgewater Drive Southwest and Beecher Road Southwest, and the northern intersection of Beecher Circle Southwest and Beecher Road Southwest, always stop-controlled intersections, to authorize the Atlanta Department of Transportation to install stop signs at the intersection and for other purposes.
Okay, okay, go ahead, Ms. Alexander, and I'll speak after you.
Okay, Katina Alexander, Atlanta Department of Transportation. Beecher Road Southwest is a major collector 2-lane roadway with a posted speed limit of 30. The intersecting streets referenced in the legislation are all classified as local roads. The surrounding land use in the immediate area is residential along Beecher in the Lincoln-Hampton part. Beecher Hills Elementary School is nearby on the northwest with access to Beecher Road via Beecher Circle. Beecher Road has areas of significant horizontal and vertical curvatures. In addition, each of the listed intersections has geometric deficiencies in alignment, presenting sight distance issues at the intersection. These 3 locations were reviewed and have been found to have safety concerns that could be mitigated by installing always stop control. ATL DOT is in support of the legislation and would like to move forward with installing always stop at the reference locations.
Well, I'm definitely going to support this legislation. I've walked this area several times with the commissioner and neighborhood residents, and it is long overdue. It's so unsafe there. Really, it is. So I would like to move approval. If I can get a second.
Second, Brown.
Thank you. Let's prepare the vote.
The vote is closed.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's fine. Okay, so thank you, ATL DOT, for that. And now we are moving on to our resolution.
Item number 8, 21-R-3200, a resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or her designee to execute a project management agreement with Pat Foundation, a Georgia nonprofit corporation, with the Northside Drive Underpass project to execute any required agreements for project participation and implementation on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation in an amount not to exceed $125,000.00. All contracted work to be charged to and paid from the fund, department, organization, and account numbers listed herein and for the purposes.
Ms. Alexander?
And actually, Madam Vice Chair, this is Commissioner Rowan. I'll take this one.
Fantastic.
So this is a Renew T-SPLOS project. The funding is coming from the council members' discretionary Renew funds. We support this project wholeheartedly. It's referred to as the Northside Drive Underpass project, and the purpose is a trail connection between Atlanta Memorial Park and the perimeter trail around the Bobby Jones Golf Course. So this is kind of a missing link in that trail network. This legislation approves a project management agreement with the Pass Foundation to deliver the project. So we recommend approval.
Sounds great. We have someone that would like to speak.
I don't see who it is. Who would like to speak?
Yeah, this is Councilmember Massick. I just wanted to say that, you know, this project, I support this project. It's really about pedestrian safety and trying to remove, you know, the conflict between cars and people, and, you know, having our part of our belt line going across a street, a heavily used part of the belt line is dangerous, and so this will alleviate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so who moved approval there? Mazzicai?
Mazzicai did.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
And second by Westmoreland?
Yep.
Okay, let's prepare the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 68 nays. This item is favorable. Our next item is number 9, 21-R-3201, a resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or her designee to exercise renewal number 1 for SB 9211, landside electrical on-call contractor with Brooks, Berry, Haney & Associates, Inc. at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport on behalf of the Department of Aviation for a term of 2 years effective March 22, 2021 through March 21, 2023 in an amount not to exceed $1 million and 0 cents. All services will be charged to and paid from account numbers listed herein and for other purposes.
Mr. Selden.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. Again, John Selden, the General Manager of Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport here. And this is an exercise, an option for BBH, who is our landside on-call contractor. It's a task order. They basically do all of our electrical work on the landside, including lighting and underground cabling and all of those things to keep our system here working at 100%. Their current contract expires in March of 2021, and we'd like to extend them for the 1-year option. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I move approval, and does anyone have anything to speak about on this particular resolution?
Second, Brown.
Okay, let's prepare the vote.
Vote is open. The vote is closed. 68 nays. This item is favorable, and that concludes our legislative items.
Okay, great. So we are not pulling any papers from held, and that will bring us to walk-in legislation. I know of none. Is that correct, Ms. Fulendini?
That's correct. There is no walk-in legislation for today.
Okay. So we have time if anyone would like to make any general remarks. I have one, but I'm open for anyone else to speak if you need to. Okay, hearing none, I was listening well to what Ms. Sherry Williams was saying during public comment, and I'd also like to add to her comments about being green. And as we're sitting here, we're constantly asked, especially on Campbellton Road, for more gas stations to be approved. So I think it's time for us to look at our zoning and land use with the green lens. And I appreciate her comment because we're working with that right now. We need a lot of things on Campbellton Road, but another gas station is not one. And we do need to think more green and be a smarter city, smart as in technology. So just wanted her to know, I'm not sure if she's listening, but let her know that that message was received. And it makes sense to me. So if there are no other comments, we really could stand and adjourn. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So move, Brown.
Okay, I second that. And thanks, everyone. Thank you, Ms. Fulendini. And Damon, too.
Thank you.